Good afternoon, folks. Well, it's quite interesting. I mean, before I start, hit the like button and subscribe, and, well, you can get more things to come, get notifications, and know when I go on here. So, with that being said, I'll make this one an interesting one. Alright. You like talking about books? Okay. Well, we'll talk about an interesting book. We all remember, all of you who were young during my time, I'm 36, I'll be 37 at the end of this year. All of you who were young, and probably older than me, and a little younger than me, not much younger, but just a little bit younger, probably read Robin Hood. Good book to read. I love the book. I loved every bit of it. What's so bad about it? It's a perfect example, though, of socialism. How is it a perfect example of socialism? Plain and simple. I mean, I understand it really doesn't add up to like how it would be on the story, and it seemed like a good idea in the story. Well, plain and simple. The thief, Robin Hood steals from the rich and gives to the poor, so the poor can do better. Which is exactly kind of how it works. The government takes from the rich and gives to the lower class until they're poor. But this is how, on a different perspective, this is how socialism works. The government taxes the rich until they're poor, then taxes the middle class until they're poor, and then taxes the bottom until they're poor, and then who do they tax after that? They can't tax the poor because they're totally poor. Everybody's poor then. There isn't a single person that can pay for it. They're all blanked. Not a single person has that money anymore. Nobody. Nobody has the money to pay for it. And that is exactly what he did. He stole the money. He stole from the rich, gave it to the poor. The poor would go out, back to the Robin Hood story. Robin Hood stole from the rich, gave it to the poor people. The poor people would spend the money on supplies and things that they can afford. But what happened when they were all out of it? They had nothing to pay for it. They couldn't pay for it. I mean, they were out of cash then. They couldn't go on much further because they're out of cash. But then again, it's kind of like today's politics. Corruption. And that was kind of like today. Who would have guessed how a certain book would actually apply to today's politics? Kind of weird, isn't it? But then again, politics as usual. Corruption goes on. As the book shows, corruption, high-ups, the rich are not sharing, so therefore they're forcing the poor to pay more taxes. As what the liberals would say. The rich are greedy and not paying enough, which should not happen, and agree in some sort of fashion that shouldn't really happen. Everybody should pay their fair share. But then again, on the flip side, how does capitalism work? Let's look at capitalism here. Capitalism, you can still be rich and get more money than the other bottom person and pay and be taxed the same amount. Be taxed the same amount of money as the poor person or middle class person. And that's how that works. Just saying. I mean, things are different nowadays. I mean, it's one of those things where you add up how capitalism versus socialism. Socialism's the shortcut. Socialism has failed in Venezuela, Cuba, China, but socialism turned into communism in China, Cuba, and, well, it was that way in Russia, which was known as the Soviet Union, but then it turned away from that into normal back to Russia, back in 90. When the Cold War ended, when they tore down in some of the eastern states, some of the western countries like Poland and some of those other countries like Ukraine and all of them. But on the flip side of that, it is what it is. Right? It's just that way. We can't let that certain things happen. When I was back in high school, it was different. We've been different back in the day. We always think to ourselves, you want to be positive about everything. You always want to be positive about literally everything. And of course, you want to be positive. But what does it take to think? Capitalism. The capitalism, everybody gets taxed the same. Everyone's taxed the same. Even though the rich man remains rich over the poor guy or the middle class man. Which these Democrats are brainwashed and trying to do that. And another thing, and those who still live back in the Civil War era, if you're offended by certain songs like Dixie, then maybe you just need to go somewhere else and not go to concerts or something that offend you. Just saying. Maybe you need to go somewhere else. I mean, that's literally what this has come down to. Go somewhere else. Don't go to concerts or watch anything that's got the word Dixie on it. Stop living on the plantation. Get off the damn plantation. If you really want to live back in that time frame, don't even come out of your house then. Don't even leave your house. I'm part of a group called the Lancaster Men's Chorus, and I sang a song a while back ago called American Heritage. That's been our song for the past, since 1971, since it was first found. And I would be damned if they take that song away. And I mean that. Well, with that being said, I'm out of here. Peace.